time of 122.876. He's made Android King SSAD a very happy team indeed. Nigel Chua is second for Speed Tavern. We've got a lot of Speed Tavern fans right now, so they're going to be absolutely on the money there. Amit Faridyan is in third, followed by Kelvinder Singh, Shamit Aizan, Jezrin Jali, Afizul Jai, and Eddie Adrian. Further down the field there, we can see Wicket Low in 13th, followed by Dominic Ang, Tinku Ezan Lay for the Uncle Racing team. He's been doing quite well, so unfortunate that he is qualified that far down. Tramizi Yusuf as well, who's been improving by leaps and bounds. Faiz Aslan in 17th, Azam Manap in 18th position, Taufik Tahir is in 19th, Mohammed Khalif is in 20th, followed by Ruben Wong, Malvinderjit Singh, Colin Chia, and Cheryl Norafuddin.
I think we better go on to the grid.
Yep. We see a lot of the guys are beginning to grid up there. Special shout out to Michael Hafiz. That I believe is his best qualifying result this season, right down there in 25th position. So do look out for him. He did very well indeed in the last round in Laguna Seca, and we'll see him climb up the field as well, we hope. But now we are waiting for Lloyd Lachlan and Malvinderjit Singh to grid up. Lloyd down there in 11th position, he's on the grid. Malvinderjit is the last man on the grid. He looks like he won't be joining us. The 5 red lights go on, and away we go. Saif Arifin gets a fantastic start, but look at Amir Faridyan. Fantastic launch into second position, and it looks like he might be able to gain another position coming into the first corner, but Saif Arifin is defending, covering off the inside. Meanwhile, Shamir and Nigel are really trying to push hard going through there. We're going 2 wide through the first corner, and in some places 3 wide as well. That's going to be fantastic racing up and down the leaderboard. Shamir Aizan is now into 3rd position. So that's Nigel Chua dropping down another place. And we see all the cars snaking up through, coming into the chute. And it looks like Shamir Aizan is getting closer and closer to Amir Faridyan. Amir has really got to look out behind him. And while all of this is going on, Saif Arifin manages to keep the lead going into the carousel section.
A brilliant start by all the drivers, and we do have a good feel of the race. This is Shamir Aizan, who's gone up to 3rd, and he does have quite a huge battle brewing, behind him, and that would be between Nigel Chua and Kelvinder Singh.
I think we have a big crash. Let me review it for a minute.
So might have had some crashes that might have taken place along the earlier part of the race. So this was through perhaps the carousel corner, and you can see that was initiated. Perhaps that might have involved some of the other drivers behind there, and it was just a matter of the cars being turned around, and it kind of caused a little bit of a roadblock along the middle of the carousel, which kind of took a few drivers out.
So no yellow flags yet from our steward. So I think this race still goes on.
Yeah, it looks like we're still good to go. It's very difficult sometimes when you nose to tail going through the carousel section there to try and avoid incidents like that. You can do. It only takes a very light touch through that corner in order to spin someone around, but luckily there was only 4 or 5 cars, I believe, that was involved in the incident, and they managed to get themselves out of the way. So our race director, good shout out to him, Paduka Shoaib, who's been very helpful throughout this series, so a special shout out to him. We'll join him later on during the broadcast after the race. And he's decided to keep the race going and keep the drivers in the lead. Saif Arifin is in 1st position, followed by Faridyan, Shamir Aizan, Kelvinder Singh, and Afizul Jai there. Lloyd Lachlan is showing up on my screen as out, so that might have been the biggest loser on that first lap through that incident. He may have been caught up in that accident, and now he is out of the
Let's
race.
see what happened to him.
Oh no, this was earlier.
Yeah, he made entered a big crash. So,
Yeah, so he got the car sideways coming off that gravel and just overcorrected it a little bit and went into the trees. That's a very frightening incident to have, indeed. So that's a real pity. Lloyd Lachlan was going very well around Laguna Seca, and he did quite well for himself through FP1. So he's going to be quite gutted, I would imagine, over that particular incident in the race. Shami Aizan, meanwhile, is still in third position, but looks like Amir Farid is really on the tail of Saiful Arifin right now, and it looks like they're coming up to some lap traffic, I
I think that's my no, Sharil, maybe Sharil. Yeah, no. Rap Pro Drag, there are only three cars. Melvin, maybe. Melvin, yeah.
believe. So that's a pretty amazing incident there. We've had our first lapped car in the race, and we're already in the fourth lap of the race, so that's the front runners must be going very quickly indeed. But it looks like Saiful Arifin, Amir Farid and Shami Aizan are very close together, and it looks like Farid is challenging for the lead.
Quite a good battle going on at this point. This is Wicked. He is sitting in 14th at this point, and I would imagine that he is coming under quite a lot of pressure from Tamizi Yusuf, who is sitting perhaps in 15th. And Wicked is probably also going to try to close in his gap with Dominic Ang in 13th right ahead. So they come upon this tricky section, the carousel complex that comes, a succession of left, right, and then a right and left-hander. This is where it's all about positioning your car well, and slipstream isn't exactly as effective at this point. So a high-speed left-hander, then followed by a slide right sweeper here. You do always have to lift a little bit in order to get the best out of your car through this section. It's going to be slipstream now, and onto the final corner, which they'll all come across at this point.
And it looks like Wicked Low is lining up. Perhaps he might think of a challenge coming down into the first corner. It looks like it's going to be quite far for him. Meanwhile, Jasrin Jali is also very close to the man in front, and it looks like Saiful and Farid have had an incident. That's Saiful Arifin who's going down the grid there. He's off the track.
Oh my!
That is amazing. Coming into turn one, he was fighting with Farid. So Saiful Arifin and Amir Farid were battling for the lead. Let's have a look at the replay to see what happened.
Let me find it first. It's okay. We'll just try to find it later.
Yeah, but that's absolutely amazing. Saiful Arifin and Amir Farid, two of the quickest drivers in the series. They must have been. Amir Farid must have been trying to go for the overtake on Saiful Arifin. This has to have quite massive sort of connotations for the championship. As we see there, Saiful Arifin. Ooh!
Oh, that was a huge hit, and this would mean that this Saiful Arifin, he's going to be set back so much. He was leading the race, and it was just a matter of braking. Perhaps the driver behind him misjudged the braking point, and this is just enough to kind of bring an end to his contention for the race win.
Like I said, big championship implications, because that's Saiful Arifin, and the man behind him was Amir Farid Yan. So there's going to be some real big movers and shakers up on the championship standings, and it's going to make Saiful Arifin's task of trying to win the championship that much harder. Real massive changes, not only to the race but to the championship, and one perhaps slightly sheepish but very happy Shami Aizan in the lead of the race, with Kelvinder Singh in second and Afizujai in third position, with Nigel Chua in fourth. That is, and Eddie Adrian of course in fifth position. That's the top five really changing quite dramatically through the opening laps of the race here. Kavinder Singh now is in second position, and he is close enough to perhaps think about trying to make an overtaking maneuver on Shami Aizan within the next lap or so. And it looks like he's close enough to definitely get a tow and try and bring himself closer to Shami Aizan. In the meanwhile, we have a whole group of cars from third all the way down to about 9th position, all traveling in a group almost like a cycling peloton at this point, with the cars chopping and changing, and we have an overtaking maneuver or an attempted overtaking maneuver there, and it looks like Afizul has lost another position. Nigel Chua brings himself back up into contention into third position, so Nigel Chua really trying to make some very big moves with another car behind there going too wide. That's Eddie Adrian trying to make an overtaking maneuver work on Jezrin Jali, on Adi Rahimi. Aman Norazam now right on board with him. Jezrin and Adi really trying hard, and Tukuezan tries to go for the dive bomb around the outside there and doesn't quite make it work, and he's been punted on the back.
That was so unfortunate, as he was just going through the middle of the corner. He had everything in order to make the move, to perhaps even think of making a move, and around he went.
Yeah, let's just rewind a bit, see what happened.
So now we're just going to have a quick look at what happened through there. We see Tinku Ezan trying to make the overtaking maneuver stick on the outside, and it looks like Aman Norazam just didn't give Tinku enough room there to try and make the overtaking maneuver stick. So that's very unfortunate for Aman Norazam, who's another frontline championship contender. This race is really going to be crucial in determining who is going to be the championship winner here. So that's Aman Norazam and Saiful Arifin down, quite far down in the order, so that's going to be pretty spectacular. We're going to see, perhaps we might even see a new championship leader by the end of this race. Absolutely groundbreaking stuff.
This is probably another battle going on between Jazreen and possibly that would be Adi, who we're riding alongside of. So that was quite a good battling as it went on the run down to turn 5, and right now this is Jazreen who's trying to hold off Tengku Izzat. And I think they're just doing a great job of keeping all of this together as they come upon these high-speed corners. So a bit of damage that we might have seen on the white car that's in front. That would probably be Eddie Adrian's car that's got a little bit of damage.
Yeah, yes indeed. It looks like these two cars have been in the wars. It's pretty minor damage, as you can see. It's not affecting the aero too badly as Adi manages to get the slipstream and get side by side between himself and I believe that's Jai that he's managed to make the overtaking maneuver work on, and with Adrian and Jezrin, and it's really nip and tuck stuff here for the 5th place position.
Whoa!
Meanwhile, there's a big accident for Kelvinder Singh. That's another front runner in the race. He's crashed. That's Kelvinder Singh and the race leader Shami Aizan. So Shami got the car sideways coming out of turn 2, and Kelvinder Singh just didn't know which direction he was going to go into, and they're both out of the race. So that is some pretty incredible stuff. That's the second time we've lost the race leader, and another potential championship contender is now down in 8th position. What is going on with this race? All the championship contenders have been sidelined with some pretty amazing stuff, and Nigel Chua is now in the lead of the race. So this is going to be absolutely unbelievable stuff, not only for the race but for the Adrenaline Impact iRacing Malaysia Championship. The Drivers' Championship is now completely up in the air, so this has some serious consequences for the championship. Meanwhile, we see Nigel Chua in the lead from Afizul Jai and Adi Rahimi, with Eddie Adrian and Jezrin Jali. That's your top 5 right now. Adrian, Jezrin and Ezan are very close to each other. I think that's Jezrin trying to go for the overtaking maneuver. Sorry, Eddie trying to go for the overtaking maneuver, and the cars are really close to each other. They're really trying to get the nose alongside each other. The gloves are off, as they say, and they're really racing around Summit Point this weekend. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
Yes, and this is wicked, and this is a battling that is taking place closer to the midpoint of the field. So we've had a wipeout of the first 3 drivers. Of course, earlier in the race we lost Cypher from the race lead, and a couple more drivers that we've just seen just moments ago. So of course, this does still mean that good, exciting battling does take place all throughout the field, evident by this one, and. As Wicked holds on to 11th, he is trying to perhaps find a way through Ahmad Norazam, who has kind of fallen down to 10th. And here they come towards the final corner.
And perhaps is Ahmad Norazam's car slightly damaged from the earlier incident? We've also got a car right behind him there. That's Saiful Arifin. He is a man on the mission. He's going to try and unlap himself as much as possible. We might see a back marker try to unlap the field. We know he has the pace, but we're going to have to see if everybody can try and help him along there. That's some amazing avoidance maneuvers from Ahmad Norazam and Wicket Low there. We'll have to say props to that, but Saiful Arifin looks like the man on the mission. He's driving almost with desperation to try and unlap himself. It's absolutely devastating news for him and for all of the championship contenders right now, but Wicket Low really has a sight in his mirrors as he's trying to chase Ahmad Norazam, and in fact that little incident in the first corner has meant that he's lost sight of Norazam a little bit as he makes an overtaking maneuver on Shame Aizan. So we ride on board with Shame Aizan. He just got the car sideways on the curb there.
Wait.
So we watch Shame Aizan come into the chute, gets the car just a little bit wrong into braking, and big cloud of smoke there. It looks like he may have downshifted, perhaps made a money shift error, it looks like, because it looks like a rather interesting cloud of smoke. It's not brake lockup, it looks like.
Yeah, maybe engine failure.
Because he immediately
straight up blew his engine, most likely due to downshift. Could have been downshifted.
There was a loud bang there.
Right, so it appears that Shame Aizan might have had as it is commonly known in racing, the money shift, when you go one too many gears too low, and unfortunately these cars don't have downshift protection. In fact, they're H-pattern cars in the game right now still, so it is possible to go from 5th directly into 1st gear, although from my rather amateur opinion, I don't think that's a very good idea to do in iRacing or real life. But that's going to be very, very unfortunate for Shame Aizan indeed. Nigel Trott still our leader from Afizul Jai, Adi Raimi, Tunku Aizan, Eddie Adrian, and this man here, Jezrin Jali, who's in the middle of a massive pack of cars from 3rd position all the way down to 7th, still all within striking distance of each other. So this is a battle that looks like it's going to go all the way to the end, with all the drivers really pushing hard to try and improve their positions.
Yeah, man, this is Jairin, who is in 6th, and of course he is behind drivers from in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So we are coming. We're not exactly at the halfway point of the race yet, but we are coming to a point where the field has kind of it's kind of opened itself up. You don't exactly see everyone clustered together, although there are still very segregated packs all throughout the field. So that was Jairin, who was trying to perhaps make a move on Eddie Adrian for a move up to P5.
So, and it looks like Jezrin Jali is going to be close enough to try something in this lap. Will he be brave enough to try and do it at the chute, or will he try and back off and conserve his momentum to try and make that overtaking maneuver stick? And it looks like Freddie Ang got really close to it. Not only did Jezrin have to worry about the car in front, but Freddie Ang now really attacking as hard as he can. It looks like Freddie's got a lot of pace going through the first part of the lap, and Jezrin Jali looks to be perhaps a little bit quicker than Eddie Adrian coming through the final portion of the lap. So it really is different but equal battling, where the drivers sort of end up with the same sort of lap times, even though they make their times up in different places. But it looks like Jezrinjali is going to be able to try and follow Eddie Adrian onto the start-finish straight. Let's see if any of these guys are able to try and go for an overtaking maneuver. Tengku Ezan is up there in 4th position. He is getting closer and closer to Adi Remy. Will he be able to use the slipstream to get past? Not before the braking zone. They've got to really make sure they give each other space before they try and toss themselves off the road here. Tengku Ezan, a little bit of a bump there, just to let Adi know that he is right behind there. And Tengku Ezan really very close coming into the second turn. He's filling up the mirrors as much as possible. We see from the rear view camera of Adi Remy, that is less than a foot there going through the apex of that corner between the two cars. It's going to be absolutely critical that he gets this corner just right. And was that contact?
Yes, that was quite heavy contact, and that was kind of enough to throw both drivers. Oh, and we now have a case of the pile-up, and this has started to involve a couple more cars, and this does mean that Adi Rashid has been pushed a couple of positions down owing to that incident, and a little bit more of a tussling by some of the cars have gone around him. You know, it's just kind of been a sticky situation that these drivers have started to find themselves in.
Is it the case of the classic Summit Point fever descending on the track? That was, we saw Tengku Ezan getting really racy, really trying to follow each other as closely as possible, and unfortunately that sort of backfired not only on Ezan's part, because he's going to have to overcome a 2.6 second deficit to the car in front, but you have to feel for Adi. He's now in the pit lane all the way down in 16th position. He must be furious at being involved in an incident like that. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that can happen in racing where you get yourself into a 50-50 situation. But as you can see here, Saiful Arifin trying to unlap himself from everything. He goes around, and it looks like Saiful Arifin gets caught up in the incident. That is going to be very bad news for him indeed, because he was trying to drive as fast as he can to try and get back up the field, and it looks like that has been another setback for him. Now he's back down to 32nd position, so that's going to be a real challenge for him to try and get back up to the top placings. Shami Aizan also in 30th position. He was, I believe, at one point leading the race. He is now down in 30th, so that's another unfortunate driver. We've had a real roller coaster of a race right now, ladies and gentlemen. Really, lots of winners and losers, and if I was Nigel Chua, I'd be counting my lucky stars all the way up in the front of the field. But that's Nigel Chua, the man who was battling with Shami Aizan for the lead. He's now going to come around, and if he's got enough pace, he's going to try and lap him. A mere 5 laps from the incident happening. That's Jezrinjali in 4th position, meanwhile chasing down Adi Adrian. They've been having a real battle for the final podium position right now, and Jezrinjali is getting closer and closer to Adi Adrian. This might be a really consequential fight for those guys. They're really going to improve their championship standings by quite a lot at the end of the race. Meanwhile, Faiz Aslan also trying to chase down Tramizi Yusuf with a really rather frightening sight behind him. That's Saiful Arifin, who is really pushing as hard as he can to try and gain back those positions, because we know Saiful Arifin is fast enough to unlap himself, but the challenge for him is not so much whether he's fast enough, but whether he can get himself through traffic cleanly and quickly. So this is going to be a very interesting challenge for Saiful to try and get himself up into the top placings again.
So this Faiz Aslan, who is also facing a little bit of a challenge of his own. So he is 8 positions from where he began from. He is a second ahead of not exactly a second at this point, or he might have come across some lap traffic. So he is being sandwiched by a couple of cars, and he's now trying to close up his gap with Tramizi Yusuf, who really isn't that far in front of him at all. This is going to be an overtaking move that might take place as they go around the first corner. This is going to be the race. Oh, a little bit of a mistake by by probably Faiz. You know, he dipped the inside, and you know that kind of unsettled the car a little bit, and that is going to leave himself probably open to perhaps a potential move by Taufik.
Yep, and it looks like Taufik there is going to try and close up the gap there. The Saif Arifin, who's technically a back marker between Faiz Aslan and Taufik right now at the moment, really worrying sight for Faiz Aslan. You don't normally see the championship front runner right behind your mirrors trying to get past you when you're in 9th position, but that is the situation we find ourselves in right now.
Yeah, the difference is with this time there's no blue flag.
Yep. Yeah, the difference is, as it was pointed out, there is no blue flag for the car in front, so Saifur Arifin really has to battle his way through the field pretty much twice at this point. But you have to admire him for trying. He never gives up. In the meantime, Tarmizi and Wicket now has lost a little bit of the fire in their fight. Wicket starting to pull away quite a bit. Meanwhile, Faiz is getting closer and closer to Tamizi, as you can see down there in the background. Tamizi is going to be really watching out for himself. The gap is changing, and it looks like Faiz managed to get himself in the lead. Meanwhile, Calvin Ha is also in a group of cars with, I believe that's Aslan, Ruben Wong, and Azman up ahead. So this is another battle further down the order it's a battle for 11th position, basically. And that's Aslan Mala, who's managed to catch up with Ruben Wong. Ruben's pushing the car very hard indeed. You can see him sort of four-wheel sliding the car through the corners here. It really does bring you to the point that the MX-5, it almost reminds me of a little puppy dog. The back end of the car is sort of a bit playful. It wants to slide around a little bit, and you've got to do your best to try and tame the very lightweight, spry nature of this MX-5 car in order to make a move stick. But that's Ruben Wong right there, trying his hardest to close up to Azman and try and make gains and try and hopefully get into the top 10 later on in the race.
This is going to be Toko Isanle and Eddie Adrian. Both of them, you know, they are now side by side down the main stretch, and they are going to approach the braking zone. So that would have been Toko Isa who had made the move up to P3, and he seals that off. It's going to go take a little bit of a wider line through the exit. That might or might not open up a gap for Eddie Adrian to kind of retake that move. But thus far, Toko Izzat has sealed his move for 3rd position. They come upon a bit of braking for turn 3, this left-hander. You know, not using the gravel this time. You know, of course, sticking to the curves. That's usually the safer line to take. And they come going fast down turn 4 and turn 5. So, of course, this was where, you know, usually drivers would carry a lot of speed, and you know, you cannot carry too much speed through that section. So, Toko Izzat will be hard pressed to try to defend his newly gained 3rd position from Eddie Adrian.
Yes, that's right, and it's going to be hard work for him. He's almost in a position where he doesn't have to worry so much about the car in front. Afizu Jai is 10 seconds ahead, but he's really got to worry right now on Eddie Adrian. He will be driving with one eye on the road, one eye in the rear view mirror, and the third eye on the battle box right now.
Okay, what happened here? Let's try to rewind. Battle between Calvin Ha and Azman.
So now we're just going to have a quick replay and a quick look at Azman Abdullah. He gets the car sideways through the S's and just misses Calvin Ha there. So he was trying to battle quite hard with Calvin Ha, and unfortunately that has put him off the road.
Yeah, that was quite an unfortunate incident, and it did lead to those drivers losing quite a lot of positions. So we are back with Afizu Jai and Tengku Isanle. So Tengku Isan, of course, he's managed to make a couple more gains. You know, he's built a bit more distance ahead of Eddie Adrian, but of course Eddie does not want to let go of this just yet. But he's got he has a huge gap to kind of close up if he wants to go up to Afizu Jai in second, who is 11 seconds ahead of this battle pack. So now we do get a good perspective of a possible battle that might take place between Ahmad Norizam and Eddie Adrian in 4th and 5th. Of course, this is entirely a 4-way battle pack from 4th down to 7th. That is also being led up front by Teguh Ihsan.
And it looks like Ahmad Norizam there is getting very, very close to Eddie Adrian, and Jaswin Jali is getting even closer to Ahmad Norizam as well. So this might be an overtaking maneuver. Let's see if Norizam can make it work under braking from Eddie Adrian. They get side by side. It's going to be the battle of the brakes. Who's got the cooler brake? Who's got the cooler head in racing? It looks like Eddie Adrian manages to block him off, but Ahmad Norizam trying to go for the switchback. It's a very popular maneuver here coming through turn 1, but now Ahmad Norizam is on the outside. Norizam is on the outside, Eddie Adrian is on the inside, and Eddie Adrian manages to take that position back, and it looks like it's still not over yet. Coming out of turn 2 and coming up into the chute, they're both side by side. Will Adrian be able to make this stick? No, he doesn't. Ahmad Norizam manages to get into the inside. Will Ahmad Norizam make this stick? They're still side by side. They've been side by side all the way through this lap. This is absolutely fantastic door-to-door racing here. And it looks like Norizam has to give way to Eddie Adrian. That is fantastic racing all up and down the leaderboard right now. And Norizam and Jaswin Jali are both very close. Behind, Termizi is also fairly close. But Eddie Adrian is really pushing hard to try and run away from Ahmad Norizam. But Ahmad Norizam is just a little bit quicker coming through this corner. As you can see, he's using all the road and more.
Jai went into the pits, he's one of the first to go to the pits.
So yeah, we now have the first of the pit stop runners. Afizul Jai is going for a very early pit entry. We normally see these guys try a late one-stop strategy, but it looks like Afizul Jai is trying a different strategy, and Khalif as well has gone into the pits there, so it'll be interesting to see where Jai ends up. Meanwhile, Jaswin Jali there, still the battle for 3rd position as it is right now, effectively 4th, is still ongoing with these guys. It's an absolutely entertaining racing right now with, let's see, Eddie there in the background. Norizam still very close to Eddie Adrian, so Eddie has to really work hard to try and make sure that Ahmad Norizam doesn't get another chance going through there. But that was some brilliant fighting on that previous lap. Practically half the lap side by side.
Yes, a great battle indeed. So of course, with that pit entrance, we would see perhaps more drivers beginning to go for their pit, for their fuel stops at this point. No tire changes. Perhaps with the MX-5s, the tires are quite durable, so they can last for far longer than this. So Jaswin has found himself to be further back from Ahmad Norizam and Eddie Adrian, who is going to go side by side through. And this is going to be Ahmad Norizam, who's gone along the inside and possibly made the move up to 3rd. But is this going to be a comeback by Eddie Adrian? Is he going to perhaps find a way through once again? Or is Ahmad Norizam able to hold on to his 3rd position? So a bit of bumper to bumper contact, and that would leave Ahmad Norizam just a little bit further ahead at this point as they come upon turn 3. Good use of the exit there, probably a bit wide by Eddie Adrian, and they will have the next few corners for either for Ahmad Norizam to secure his 3rd position, or for Eddie Adrian to perhaps think of a comeback.
And it looks like Ahmad Norizam has gone a little bit sideways there. That puts Eddie Adrian up around the inside. They are still going nose to tail through here. Ahmad Norizam is driving defensively, but driving very well indeed to try and avoid contact with Eddie Adrian. But it looks like Norizam is going to be in a vulnerable position coming into the final corner there. Eddie Adrian is close enough to try and make something work when it comes to the slipstream effect. That's the challenge with Ahmad Norizam. He is right out front there. He's punching the hole in the air to try that all the other drivers are trying to use to their advantage. But Eddie Adrian is now going to come down into turn 1. Will he be close enough? It doesn't look like it, but he might try and stick a nose up the inside just to remind Aman Norazam that he's still there. It looks like he's going to go in for the braking zone. Will he be able to make it work? They're side by side. Can Eddie Adrian keep Aman Norazam around the outside? Yes, and it looks like Eddie Adrian is going to be on the inside for turn 2. They are still side by side. This is back to side by side action that they've been going on for quite a long time. Still next to each other. This is going to be absolutely fantastic, coming down into the short chute here just before the carousel section, and Aman Norazam manages to get back in front of Eddie Adrian. This is a battle that has really been very spectacular indeed. Now we're coming through the S's and on the run up into the final corner, and it looks like Eddie Adrian is much closer to Aman Norazam than he was the previous lap. Can Eddie make the slipstream work for himself? Like I said, Aman Norazam really at a slight disadvantage through here. No, Eddie Adrian's going to try through the final corner. It doesn't make the move work, and now we've got Jezrin Jali, who's gone around the inside of Eddie Adrian, and he's managed to get a position. Will he be able to make another move on Aman Norazam? It looks like Aman Norazam manages to get into second position. Eddie Adrian is third and Jezrin Jali in fourth, but that almost looked like Jezrin Jali was able to completely overtake the entire field, but he decides to back out of it. And these cars are closer than ever. Have you ever seen racing like this before?
What makes this all the more exciting is that you've also got a mix of drivers who are a lap down. That is Saiful Arifin there, likely him, who is behind there. And this is Eddie Adrian. He's gone to, perhaps think of a little bit of an attack down the right hand, but of course he thinks better of it and, thinks of making his move perhaps later on, saving it for a better opportunity. So he comes ever so close to the rear bumper of Aman Norazam. So of course, with the pit stop move by one of the drivers earlier on, this does mean that Aman Norazam has been pushed up to second and Eddie Adrian in third. So Jaisun Jali is in fourth, and as you do see two of the cars behind there, those would likely be lap traffic. So Teguh Sunday has gone into the pits, and this is going to temporarily cede the race lead to Aman Norazam and also move drivers like Jaisun Jali up a position.
Yeah, and we also see Eddie Adrian shadowing Ezan into the pits there. That might be a wise maneuver. We'll see if Tunku Ezan has got the pit calculations just right. Both men are into the pits. Azman is also in the pits. But right now, Norazam is temporarily into the lead, followed by Jezrin Jali. Taufik is surprisingly up into third position. Faiz in fourth, and Nigel Chua in fifth position. So this is going to be very interesting to see where they're going to shake up, and we'll see if the guys who haven't stopped yet can make up enough time to make the overcut work, or if Nigel Chua has managed to try and gain the upper hand. It looks like Nigel Chua is, by my estimations, only about 8 to 10 seconds away from the lead, so it looks like Nigel Chua might have been able to make the undercut work. He is definitely pushing the car as hard as he can to try and catch up to this battle, which is now currently the battle for the lead. Jezrin Jali is really going to have to work really hard to try and keep Taufik behind him, with Faiz a watching brief further down there. As Aman Norazam goes into the pits, he is reacting. Taufik and Faiz also go into the pit lane there. And right now it's Jezrin Jali with Saiful Arifin right behind him. Now it remains to see if Jezrin decides to give Saiful Arifin that position. It looks like he's not going to try and defend, which is a wise move considering Saiful is just trying to unlap himself and try and get himself further up the field. And Azunasi also behind him, so Jezrin Jali has to really remember that he's not in 24th position, but in fact he is the leader of the race, so it really depends on whether he's going to let these guys go past and be in a comfortable position, or if he's going to try and stick with these cars because they're going quite fast.
So of course it would kind of be to Jai Srin's benefit if he's able to stick to these to Saiful Arifin behind him in order to kind of, both drivers working with each other to just pull themselves through. It does make you faster, as opposed to, perhaps exchanging positions a little too much. And we are now with Eddie Adrian. He has rejoined the race in 6th after his pit stop, and would appear that a good half of the drivers, or maybe more than 2/3 of the drivers on the field, have made their pit moves, and we've just got a few other drivers who are yet to make their pits. So Jaisrin is, of course, he's in the race lead, but he's yet to pit, so he might go for the pit move any moment soon.
So yeah, now we're getting into the critical stage of the race when all the drivers have to try and make that pit stop maneuver work. It looks like this is going to be considered quite a high fuel consumption circuit. There's a lot of fuel burn going on around the circuits. So I don't think anybody will be really in a position to try and do this without taking a pit stop. So as you can see there on the graphic on your screens, there's only a couple of guys who haven't pitted yet, and it looks like they might be heading into the pits fairly soon. But meanwhile, Jaisrin Jali out there, out in the front with Nigel Chua really clawing up into second position. So it remains to be seen if Jaisrin can really work with the cars around him, really push himself up into the front, and really try and, the main thing for him is get that gap as big as possible. Kalvinder Singh is now battling with Tunku Ezan, who's had a real roller coaster of a race. He's been battling up and down the leaderboard. There's been contact, there's been virtually everything. I do know that Tunku Ezan, aka Mr. 10, he's a bit of a well-known character in sim racing as well as the real world of motorsports, and he's got his own stream coming up. And I don't know about you, but after the end of this race I might have to go over and check his stream out, because that is a man who's having a lot of fun indeed.
Oh, that is so great to hear. You've got, I think with live stream races, just kind of adds all that level of excitement. You've got more people who are able to watch the race and even enjoy the race as you race yourself. Of course, this is Kalvinder Singh, who is yet another streamer. So both streamers going head to head with each other for 4th position, and they've also got Eddie Adrian not, just trying to light the fire right behind them, and try to make this whole thing more exciting. They go side by side through turn 1. It's going to be exciting, as it's going to be quite a wide run through the exit of turn 2, and Tunku Ezan would be able to hold on to his 4th position. But of course, Kalvinder is not going to just let this go too quickly. They are going to come through this tricky left-hander, but of course they do it so well. They nail the exit of this corner. Eddie Adrian possibly also having done so. And now we just have to have a look at how much speed they carry into this corner. So Tunku Ezan carried a little more speed than Kalvinder Singh, so pace advantage might actually it's probably gone to the favor of Tunku Ezan. But he's probably gotten a little bit of a wider line through the right-hander. And as they come towards these segments, I really love this corner. This right-hander turn 7 is very nice where you just hit the apex smack, which sets you up well for these series of S's. Now go back to the race leader Nigel Chua and Jaisrin Jali. Of course, Jaisrin has come into the pits. He is going to exit the pits, and let's just have a look at which specific point he rejoins. He's going to rejoin ahead of Tunku Ezan, of course. That would be a lap car that's kind of past him. And yeah, look, you can just see the two pink and red cars, thundering down the main stretch as Jaisrin just kind of inserts quite far ahead of them.
Jaisrin's done well to put a lapped car between those two drivers, because they're in a unique position of battling quite hard with each other and also going at a fairly decent rate. Normally when you're battling against each other you tend to lose quite a lot of time because you're not taking the ideal line through the corner, but these two drivers seem to be making it work, and definitely very, very spectacular driving right now. Kalvinder Singh is starting to get a little bit more adventurous, a little bit riskier line through turn 2. Coming into the chute and into the carousel section where Tunku Ezan seems like he's getting a better feel for the brakes than Kalvinder. Coming into that section, it really is all about not just brake power but brake feeling going through there, and it looks like Tunku Ezan has got a slight advantage through there, but Kelvinda managed to make that car hook up through the S's so well. And it really is coming into a sort of a very, it's turning into a very much a equal battle. Having said that, it looks like Kelvinda Singh has managed to get his car further down the road, and it looks like he might be set in 4th position. Eddie Adrian, however, is very close to the back of Tengku Ezan, and it looks like he might be thinking in the next lap or so to try and make that move stick. But Nigel Chua has managed to undercut the field. He is in the lead, 3 seconds from Jesrin Jelly, who's a further 5 seconds up the road. And it looks like the amount of time left to go, knock on wood, it looks like Nigel Chua might be able to make this work.
Now we're down to less than 2 minutes
what happened to Kelvinda?
before the end of the race, and this is Kelvinda. Something might have happened to him. You know, he's lost 2 positions. That was Tengku Ezan, who he was in fact around with Tengku Ezan. So we have a look at the replay. It would appear that he made a bit of a mistake. Of course, you know, maybe he kept his eye on the driver in front of him, and you know that would have led to him perhaps making a mistake in sympathy, and that has led Eddie Adrian and Tengku Ezan past. So you know he's lost 2 positions, and also the fact that you know they're coming to the final minute of this race. So Kelvinda will have to try his best to kind of regain his lost positions.
And it looks like Tengku Ezan still in 4th position, so lucky for him, he's only managed to drop 1 place behind Eddie Adrian. But Eddie Adrian is not the easiest person on the planet to overtake, and he'll be quite good at defending, as you can see there, trying to break the toe. And it looks like Kelvinda Singh will try to go around the outside. He's not really in the right position to do so. He might have to hold off and wait for the second turn or for the chute heading into the carousel section there. But it looks like the battle, the 3rd, 4th and 5th is really pushing up high. Nigel Chua has dropped down into 3rd. Nigel Chua has dropped down into 3rd, and he's slowing down. He is slowing down. There's something wrong with that car. That is amazing. Yet another leader has fallen into problems, but it looks like the car is going very slowly indeed. You can hear it. There's something up with the car, and that is going to be heartbreaking for Nigel Chua in the final minute of the race with a comfortable lead, and there appears to be a mechanical problem with the car.
It could be that he had run out of fuel, possibly. Perhaps as he's taking his car this slowly through the race.
Yeah, maybe not sufficient fuel on his pit stop. Yeah,
Perhaps he underfueled the car just ever so slightly. He cut it a little bit too close, and it looks like Afizul Jai is going to be your man who's won the race, followed by Jesrin Jali and Tengku Ezan Lay, with Eddie Adrian 4th and Kelvinda Singh unfortunately just not quite close enough to get into the 4th position. He's in 5th. Ahmad Norizam in 6th, and Faiz in 7th. I do apologise. Afizul Jai has won the race, and I must say,
that's a good.
This race,
it's still one Android King winner.
it's the Android. It's the Android King. It is the same car in that winning position, but it's not the Android King car we expected it to be. This race has been an absolute roller coaster. So many lead changes, so many leaders falling into problems there, and your heart sort of goes out to Nigel Chua.
What happened to Shame last lap? Oh my god, he lost his position there.
And Shami Aizan now, he dropped it right on the final corner there. That's going to be very unfortunate as the Starful Arifin decides to go for the jump. You might as well at that point. He's done it very well indeed to try and get up into 16th position, considering he was plumb last at one point. But that is absolutely amazing.
Shame was,
So of course,
doing good at 17, I think, 16 or 17. He climbed up from the back, but he just lost it at the final turn there.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Shame Aizan, but it's been an incredible race, hasn't it? So now we're going to have a look at the leaderboard, and Afizul Jai is the man that brings it home for Android King SSAD in first position, 6 seconds ahead of Jezrin Jali for the Autohouse FCR Performance team. In third place, Tinku Ezan Lay for the Uncle Racing team. Eddie Adrian is in fourth, Badawat SRC. Kelvinder Singh is fifth for SRE Racing Team A. Then the first of the teammates, Amanur Azam, is another Autohouse FCR Performance driver in sixth, followed by Faiz Aslan, Tamizi Yusuf, Taufik Tahir, and Wicket Low. Whew. I'm gonna have to need to.
What a race!
I'm gonna need to catch my breath after that one.
As we see the drivers having good fun after the race. So I guess this is like the same equivalent of after the party. Usually after race, Formula 1 drivers will be pushed into a swimming pool. Given that there's no swimming pool in sim racing, they just take the runoff off turn 1 and do donuts over there. It's just so wonderful.
And I like the fact that Cypher Racing just demonstrating the famous summit point jump. If you get the angle right, there is a bit of the barrier that's missing, and a nice ramp there, so you can really launch the car off into the scenery, which has been a bit of an iRacing tradition. After the race, of course, you don't want to be doing it during the race, and trust me, I have seen that happen.
Okay,
before.
let's go to SSAD's room and find Jai. Or maybe we have a talk with Paduka first. Hi Paduka.
Hi Paduka.
Hello Paduka, how are you, man?
Oh, mic tak sambung ke tu? Tak apa. We'll go to SSAD Go Racing's room to get hold of Jai. Let's go.
Alrighty.
Hello guys, we're live.
Hello, Dominic. You see?
Hello.
Hi guys, we're live.
Hi.
Jai, the winner dekat sini tak?
Ada.
Tanya.
Bye.
Thank you.
So,
Tahniah Abang Jai.
Berpeluh.
So bagaimana perasaan tu bila tiba-tiba nampak Nigel Chua mula slow tu?
Itulah tengok kan, maknanya dia habis minyak tu kan. Ui, cabaran lah.
Oh ya, dah berapa banyak kali kita dah tukar leader dan berapa banyak insiden di hadapan tu. Memang very entertaining race lah, the most entertaining race of the season, I think. Nampak.
Because what we saw during the race, right? The leader was changing every few laps. So
Yeah.
race leader, then they'll go out. And then a new leader comes and then they'll go out in a few laps. And after a new one comes and then they'll probably face some issue and go out again.
Yeah.
It was so exciting all the way up to the last moment of the race when he ran out of fuel and another leader came out.
Man.
And that was Afizul Jai. Wow.
But I do have to feel sorry for Nigel Chua. It must be gutting for him to lose another race to fuel. So close. But what can you do, I guess? Unfortunately, you're in that situation. You just have to sort of give second best to Jai. But yeah, this race has had some huge consequences for not only this for the leaders, but for the championship as well. So many championship contenders have fallen off the road. It's unbelievable. It's going to be an absolute mix-up in the championship standings. We're going to have to really be careful and tabulate everything, because I think we're going to have a new leader for the championship yet again.
Okay, is Paduka ready? Paduka is not online lagi. Okay, still in this group we have SACD punya team owner Rashid Raidal. So how was the race, Abang Rashid?
Alhamdulillah, okay. Hari ni I think everybody pun dah start jaga kereta masing-masing. And then because kita pun ada track yang agak kecil ataupun agak sempit kan. So okay lah, I think tak ada banyak, kurang sikit kot insiden. And then all the drivers pun dah start knowing each other, dah boleh anticipate apa yang driver lain nak buat. So okay, good result so far. And then mungkin nanti kita akan check balik lah, mungkin akan ada few apa insiden ke apa kan. Tapi overall okay. And congratulations to Jai, Android SSD Android King SSD, kan champion hari ni. And then thank you to all SSD Go Racing and SSD Android King SSD team drivers. Okay, see you next round 6. We come back stronger.
Alright. Also in this group, anybody? Muhaimin main ke tadi?
Ada.
Sana tadi okey.
Okay, fun. Ada fight sikit dengan Malaysia tadi.
Nak cari nama Muhaimin. Yeah, tadi. So pit awal ke? Pit last juga?
Last pit, last minyak, last lap. Minyak.
Alright.
Okay.
Semua hari ni berjaya kawal sikit kereta dan kurangkan crash. Ada juga tadi crash, tapi tak ada sampai tahap nak ni. Okey, Paduka dah ready ke Paduka?
Yo.
Boleh brief sikit tadi macam mana race tadi?
Race tadi okey, semua terkawal. Rasanya diorang ni dah tinggalkan marah diorang kat rumah kot. And so semuanya okey, cuma ada beberapa insiden lah yang tak teruk lah. Tapi okey lah. So harap-harapnya kita cuti lah minggu ni untuk orang kata review benda-benda insiden. Harap tak ada protes lah sampai pada hari ni. So kita boleh lah berbual hari Selasa nanti untuk benda-benda yang menarik boleh kita kongsikan. Harapnya tidak lah. Harapnya tidak ada lah kan. Kita tengok tadi pun clean, cantik semua.
Okey. Dalam grup ni juga kita ada Tamizi rasanya. Tamizi?
Ya, ada.
Macam mana dia, okey ke tak?
Okey tu okey lah. Cuma itulah track macam licin lah. Lain macam lah kan, baru ni lepas main 24 hours. Ya, jadi lain sikit lah. Semua MF ni, aduh.
Kira downforce pula
Overall okey lah.
Alright, tanya habis race semua.
Alright, thank you.
Okay, I see Wykid tapi dia mute. Is he around? Wykid tak ada, tak apa, it's okay. Apa kata we move on to rap product punya room. Let's go guys.
So di calculator salah.
Hello, we're live guys.
Kalau early shift tak ada effect lah.
Hai. Siapa ada dalam ni? Apa jadikan Syamir?
Baru ada effect.
Syamir, what happened last turn?
Last turn lah habis minyak lah sebenarnya. Tak kenapa tadi Ipin saja langgar ke dia saja ke tak tahu lah.
Saja tu apa?
Saja dah kat belakang kan.
Tanya khabar.
Actually tadi I blow enjin masa nombor 8 tadi kot. So kena towing dan terus ke belakang lah. So pit terus dengan isi minyak sekali lah.
Yang mula-mula tu apa jadi tu?
Yang mula-mula tu
alamak,
tu kena rumput lah.
Lepas tu terus swipe Kelvin tu. Aduh.
Drop ke nombor 8. Tapi itulah waktu tu elok tengah leading kan. Tak ada luck today.
Okay, Syaril Narafudin kat sini juga kan? Macam mana tadi Bingo?
Ada minyak.
Minyak.
Aku salahkan aku punya team principal lah. 2.6 liter cukup. Tak cukup.
Aduh, calculation silap lah tu.
Calculation silap lah.
Cost consumption dia tinggi sangat lah MS5 ni tiba-tiba.
Okay, another guy here is Melvin there. Melvin, bro, macam mana tadi? You out tadi awal tadi? Tak ada dah? Satu lagi kawan kita yang always tumpang bilik dom, Michael Hafiz.
What happened my chill?
Tengah cari nama my chill kat okey ni kereta dia. Tengok. Okey my chill, tadi start macam okey.
Start okey tapi ada cetelang.
Terlanggar apa?
Dekat turn yang ke berapa tadi, dekat S tu. Kat mula kat first lap. Lepas tu drop ke 20 lebih. Lepas tu dah last tu Lolin apa dah bawa.
Tak apa, kita boleh hantar submit protest. Okey.
Kita gunakan saluran yang betul.
Gunakan saluran betul ni.
Okay, berapa email ada? Okay, tengok yang ni team memang silap kecil lah tadi. Terlanggar Colin Chia waktu tu kan. So starting dah okey. Oh, siapa starting 25
Tak, ni leaderboard silap ni aku offkan lah.
Tak okey ni betul ni.
Betul
Starting dia.
Aku tak ingat lah.
Betul. Dia starting 25 habis 25 juga. Okey lah.
Sekejap kita tengok balik restart
Start main drag waktu tu. Drag. Ting. Belakang. Buat tidur.
Lama tak main drag.
Dia berkarat sikit, kena practice balik lah.
Lama tak pergi Coffee Village.
Okay, semua berhati-hati kan. Masih belum lagi.
Hey guys, I will stand off for a while first. I just want to open the podcast.
Okay, thanks.
I'll be back later for after party.
Okay, see you.
Hey, see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Alright. See you.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
My chill steady ya. Tak kena sondal hari ni
Come on lah, triple kot.
Aku pula yang menyondol.
Kau pakai VR ke?
Tak, aku pakai triple. Tak boleh pakai VR.
Tak boleh Pening
Tu terlanggar.
Kau cakap sorry tak kat dia?
Aku cakap dekat dalam diri sorry.
Okey lah.
Oh, ni antara lap 1 incident kita tak nampak tadi
Korang fokus kat depan je. Korang kena fokus kat tengah dengan belakang.
Tak, kita nampak ni. Kita fokus kat kereta lain.
Nampak sebenarnya.
Merah tu nampak.
Okey, jatuh dekat
Tak, kita nampak juga. Nampak dekat broadcast tadi. Tapi tak perasan pula Macil course.
Tu terlibat tiga kereta je kan?
banyak.
Kalau yang tiga. Kalau yang belakang-belakang tu sapu memang full course yellow.
Dia ada banyak yang off course tapi tak langgar lah.
Tak ada, semua banyak ke tepi. So semua dapat jalan balik kan. Okey lah.
Betul.
Yang paling ketara ni yelah, lepas tu ada lagi kan 3-4 biji kan yang mana tadi lap 2 ke lap 1 lap 3 tak ada. Tak dapat trace balik.
Farid punya pedal minyak.
Apa tu?
Farid punya pedal brake.
Pedal brake bukan pedal minyak.
Oh.
Dia disconnect tu.
Bila macam tu aku tersondol Rashid dengan Muhammad. Rashid macam lah okey.
Kita tengok dia sondol Ipin Sekejap. Alah, dia rewind balik sekejap.
Apa ni?
Ni lah kot.
Tak, antara ni dia tu.
Tak boleh break.
Tak boleh break
Brake failure, disaster ni.
Brake dia patah. Tertanggal.
Brake failure lah ni kira.
Scary weh. Kalau bayang kereta betul. Kena dekat T1.
Habis lah.
Salam takziah bai.
Kereta tak angkat.
Salam takziah terus.
Salam takziah.
Selemun.
Yang kawan ni pun sama kak. Salam takziah kak kalau pergi straight tu.
So lepas ni FCR
Berhenti terus.
Tak ada nak keluar dah.
Engine duduk terus kat tempat ni driver.
Aduh.
Bye bye.
Ni fighter.
Bukan balik Tu bukan balik bawa kereta tu bawa balik ambulans tu.
Ini lagi satu lagi benda jadi kejadian ni.
Sekejap, mana dia? Loop punya counter ke? Belakang gear. Ini kot lap ni.
Turn 3, turn 4 kan?
Turn 3 lah, turn 3. Turn 3, 1, 2, turn 3.
Tengah fight waktu ni.
Apa dia?
Tengah fight waktu ni.
Tak fight pun, cuma
lead kan?
tengah lead tapi tayar kanan tu kot. Nampak.
Mana dia pergi?
Yelah, dia pun itu high speed kan.
High speed, tak boleh buat apa dah tengah drift.
Kesian Kevin dia tak tahu nak pergi kiri kanan dia. Tak tahu nak commit mana.
Kalau nak habiskan tak ada bonnet, aku dah buat trend dah.
Trend setter lah.
Tapi tak apa tadi yang Angel pecah.
Saya bawa malu je.
Dekat
bawah tu
turn U-turn kiri ni.
Dah tengah-tengah je, dah tengah-tengah event kat lah kan?
Tengah-tengah dah.
Masa termis
drop ke dia laju sangat tu.
Dengar lah kat broadcast aku dengar gebom macam tu. Aku akan kau Tamizi ke Sondong kau, Tamizi belakang kau kan? Masa tu.
Tamizi belakang tu. Lepas tu aku drop gear maybe pasal tak tahu lah, pasal hill lento jugalah punca kot. Lepas clutch cepat sangat. Terus
kejadian yang tak pernah tengok ni, J pecah. Terforward sikit.
Betul lah, masa kita tengah tengok tu pun bunyi macam money shift terus. Macam 5 ke 1. Teringat zaman drag juga kan.
Tapi tak apa, ini last kali ni aku nak tanya kau PID ni.
Mana Jap.
Last lap. Sekejap apa jadi?
Kalau minyak habis, engine stop tu lah.
Actually minyak dah habis dah. Masuk lap ni minyak pun dah habis dah. Dekat turn sini dah senggut-senggut dah. I pun tak perasan Ipin datang laju kat kanan.
Gerakang.
Ni waktu apa?
Last lap, last corner.
Wow. Apa jadi tu? Ipin pun tengah kabut nak
tak perasan lah.
Waktu kereta dah stall kat tepi tu. Aku tergabur
Cuba tengok view Ipin. Dia macam mengelak je.
Sekejap.
Dia tengah mengelak kereta lagi satu yang lagi slow.
Daripada belakang. Daripada arah cermin ke belakang. Speed. Speed.
Dia dah datang dulu. Terus satu dia boleh.
Alright guys, so kita akan open for itu yang
I believe I can fly.
Dia dah practice untuk rally ni.
Mana dia naik ya?
Sini memang kita orang terbang dulu.
Memang famous jam ni.
Memang famous kat sini. Kalau pakai kereta lagi laju, lagi tinggi.
V8 tu lagi tinggi tu.
V8 lagi tinggi. Tapi funny lah kau tengok kereta tu pergi.
Itulah V8 supercar masa race tu. Lepas je finishing line kau nampak first 4 kereta terus masuk in a line.
Dah tahu dah jadi tradition kat situ. Okay guys, we're going to end the stream. Thank you, Matt. Please do the honors.
Alright, all that remains for me to say is to thank our director Karol Alang, our race steward Paduka Shoaib, My co-commentators Chan Wei Han, and our sponsors Works Engineering, Lucas Oil, Oregon Engineering, Stream.my, Simology, Pico Media, Sim Racing Enthusiasts, Donut Motorsports, and Inter Formula. Congratulations to Afisul Jai for the fantastic racing, and my name has been Matt Palmer, and we will see you at the final round next week. Ta-ra!
Hi, I'm Matt from Interformula, and welcome to our Research and Development Centre. We do all forms of research and development, all the way from designing and developing our own race cars, to simulators, to running cars in racing series and rallying all over the world. We also do a lot in the Asian Classic Car Championship, so do look out for us. For any information, do contact us with the number down below.